Hello. When we say Selichot, we need to be very careful not to say them at nighttime. It's prohibited to say Selichot at night, from the time that it gets dark until midnight. At midnight, it's a time of Chachamim, and therefore, at that time, one is allowed to say Selichot. But beforehand, it's time of Din. Din is at the time that the spiritual powers, negative spiritual powers that are very jealous at those that say Selichot at that time, and it could be damaging more than benefiting. This is how the Mekubalim bring down, Kaf HaChaim brings this down, the Birkei Yosef, the Chida, and others. Therefore, although there are some poskim that said that if one is stuck without being able to say Selichot any other time but at night, for just a temporary time, just a single time, he could say Selichot at night. This is how Moshe Feinstein writes. But majority, almost all the poskim don't agree with that, but rather they say that Selichot should not be said at night at all, so much that even if one happened to be in a congregation that says a Selichot at night, you should not answer with them. Completely stay quiet and don't answer. If there are 9 people that look for the 10th person in order to say Selichot, don't join together. It's prohibited to say Selichot at that time. But from midnight on, one is permitted to say Selichot. It's a good thing to say Selichot. It's a very, very good time. Therefore, some shuls would want to do the following. They would say all the things that you're allowed to say at night before midnight in order to save time, and then after midnight only say the parts that must be said from midnight and daytime. Like for instance, the Yag Midot, Hashem Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun, those they leave for afterwards. So they change the order and say everything beforehand in order to be able to come out early and send the people to their house to sleep. The Makor Ne'eman says that one should not do such a thing. It's not asur, but one should not do such a thing. Rather, do everything in order. It seems like this does not apply to a shul that prays in the morning on time. Let's say they have Selichot at 7 and Shacharit at 8. At 7 o'clock, there's no minyan. They're waiting for the 10th person. So until the 10th person comes, they can say other mizmorim and other Selichot and other techinot before the 10th person comes, even though it's not in order. And then afterwards, when the 10th person comes, say the Yag Midot and everything that needs a minyan. This way, they'll keep on time. In that manner, it would be permitted. One needs to be careful when saying Selichot not with the congregation, not to say, as I explained before, the Yud Gimel Midot in a way of pleading, techina, but rather if there's no 10 people, a person that, let's say, must say Selichot in his house by himself for any reason, so he should say the Yud Gimel Midot as he's reading in the Torah. That's what he should have in mind, and not as a techina, as a pleading to Hashem. That's very important. But the Aramaic, there's machloket. Should one say the Aramaic? Since the Gemara says that En Malachei HaSharet niskakim lelashon Aramit, which means the Malachei HaSharet bring the tefillot in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, if you don't have 10, we need the support and the help and the service of Malachei HaSharet. If you have 10, you don't need them, because Kol Be'asara Shechina Shaarei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, he takes the tefillot for us. So therefore, we don't need the Malachei HaSharet. But if there's no 10, you need the Malachei HaSharet. And the Gemara says the Malachei HaSharet do not service us if it's said in Lashon Aramit, in the language of Aramaic. And therefore, Cham Ovadia in Chazon Ovadia says not to say those parts at all until if you have a minyan, you say it. If you don't have a minyan, you don't say it. All Etzion writes, the one is permitted to say it. It just says that they don't bring it in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it doesn't hurt to say it. It's not asur to say it. And Ben Ish Chai seems to say that the same thing as well. So therefore, one needs to do according to his way, the way he would go with his poskim on this matter as well.